Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Hanuman Chalisa,
Okay.
which is a really famous Hindu hymn.
Yes.
And I think it's going to be really exciting to dig into because, I was looking at the research,
Mm-hmm.
and there's so much to talk about. So much cool stuff.
It's a fascinating text, and it's one that is really alive, I would say, in Hindu practice today. So.
Right. And not just like,
Mhm.
Hindus in India, but,
absolutely.
Hindus all around the world.
Yeah, all over the world.
So I think it's going to be really, really interesting.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
And like I said, there's just so much to cover.
Yeah.
I was really struck by some of the imagery in the Chalisa. Like,
yeah.
Hanuman leaping across oceans and, battling demons.
Oh, yes, very epic.
Really epic stuff.
Larger than life character.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's exciting and it's fun, but also at the same time, there's this real deep meaning, This devotion and this idea of overcoming obstacles and how to live your life with a certain type of strength.
Yeah, and I think that that's kind of what makes it so interesting is that it can be, kind of like a thrilling adventure story, but it's also, this deep dive into spiritual growth and all that.
Exactly. You can enjoy it on so many different levels. You can just enjoy it for the story, or you can really go depth into it and try to understand what it's trying to tell you about how to live your life.
For sure. For sure.
Okay.
So before we kind of get into the weeds here,
Okay.
maybe we should start with the basics.
Sure.
Like, where does the Hanuman Chalisa come from?
Yeah, so the Hanuman Chalisa is believed to have been composed by a poet saint named Tulsidas way back in the 16th century.
Okay.
And the story of how he came to compose it is almost as fascinating as the Hanuman Chalisa itself.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm intrigued. What's the story?
So Tulsidas was going through a really difficult period in his life, and legend has it that Hanuman himself appeared to him in a dream and told him to compose this hymn.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good motivation.
Yeah. Let's talk about divine inspiration.
For sure.
Right. And so he composed this hymn of praise to Hanuman, and it became known as the Hanuman Chalisa.
Okay, cool. So he writes it.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the structure like?
So it's cleverly designed with 40 verses.
Okay.
And it's written in Awadhi,
Okay.
which is a dialect of Hindi.
Gotcha.
And Chalis actually means 40. So the name literally translates to 40 verses on Hanuman.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
The research also mentioned something about like reciting the Chalisa on Tuesdays and Saturdays.
Right.
Is there what's the significance of those days?
Yeah, so in Hindu astrology, certain days of the week are associated with different energies.
Yeah.
And Tuesday is ruled by Mars,
Okay.
which represents strength and courage.
Uh-huh.
And these are qualities that we see in Hanuman.
Right. Okay.
And then Saturday is ruled by Saturn,
Okay.
which is the planet of obstacles. And Hanuman is known for helping his devotees overcome obstacles.
So, choose those days to recite it kind of adds another layer of meaning then.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not just a random day of the week. There's a
Right.
deeper significance to it.
Okay, cool. And just so everyone knows, we are going to be looking at English translations of the Chalisa today,
Yeah,
just so that everything's clear.
absolutely.
One thing that I wanted to ask about before we get into the verses
Okay.
was, in the research, people associate all these
Mm-hmm.
amazing benefits with reciting the Chalisa.
Yeah.
There's like protection and, mental well-being, and there's even some talk about physical health.
Right.
What's your take on all that?
Well, I think it's a testament to the power of belief.
Mhm.
The idea is that by chanting these verses, you are invoking Hanuman's blessings and protection.
Okay.
And that can bring about a sense of peace and well-being.
Right. And I know that, from like a practical standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
I can see how like the repetition and the focus of it,
Yeah.
be really calming, like a form
And
of
to me,
meditation.
sure, it's like a mantra.
Yeah.
You repeat, and it can calm your mind.
Yeah.
And reduce stress.
Yeah. But then the physical health stuff, that's like,
Yeah.
that's a whole other level.
It is interesting
Yeah.
how the mind can affect the body.
Right.
And, for a lot of people, this is more than just a personal practice.
Mm.
It's woven into the fabric of their lives.
Right.
You'll hear it chanted in temples and in homes.
Yeah. And I even read that it's made its way into Bollywood films.
Oh, absolutely. It's part of the culture.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's everywhere.
That's pretty cool.
It is. But, to really understand why it has that kind of influence, we need to go back to the source,
Right.
the verses themselves.
All right.
When you were reading through it, did any of them stand out to you?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Like some of them were so vivid. I mean, like the one about Hanuman leaping to the sun because he thinks it's a fruit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that takes, reaching for your goals to a whole other level.
It does.
And then there are the ones about him, like, using his strength and causing the three worlds to tremble. I mean, that's
powerful.
super powerful stuff.
Yeah.
But what really struck me were the ones about his devotion to Rama.
Okay.
Like the one where it says that he's as dear to Rama as his own brother Bharat.
Yes, that's a great one.
What's the significance of that?
Well, Bharat was known for his selflessness and his love for Rama. So by comparing Hanuman to Bharat,
Right.
it really elevates him, to this level of unparalleled devotion.
Oh, so it's not just about like brute strength. It's also about
It's the purity
this pure devotion.
and dedication.
Yeah.
It goes beyond any earthly bond.
Right. He's not just a servant. He's like this ultimate companion.
Very true companion.
Yeah. And that theme kind of runs throughout the whole Chalisa, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Like there are verses about him guarding Rama's abode and, always being his servant. It's like each verse kind of builds on this image of, perfect dedication.
It's like a tapestry woven with threads of all of these different qualities that Hanuman represents: strength, courage, wisdom, but above all, that devotion to Rama.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And by reciting it, I guess you're not just praising Hanuman, but you're also, kind of striving to embody those qualities yourself.
Exactly.
Now, the research also mentioned something about like traditional steps for reciting the Chalisa.
Okay.
It's not just like, casually reading it.
Right.
There's like a whole ritual involved. What can you tell me about that?
Well, it's about creating a sacred atmosphere.
Okay.
So people might light a lamp. They might offer flowers to Hanuman.
Okay.
Find a quiet space and just really focus on their breath while they're chanting.
Right. So
It's like setting an intention.
Yeah.
And approaching it with reverence.
Yeah, it's like a multi-sensory experience then.
Yeah, definitely.
Like engaging the mind and body and spirit. And there were some verses that really highlighted Hanuman's powers.
Yes.
Like they're like these little mythological tales.
Oh, for sure.
Within the Chalisa.
Yeah, like the one about him bringing back the life-saving herbs for Lakshman.
Right.
He literally saves a life.
Right.
Yeah, it's a pivotal moment in the Ramayana.
And it's not just physical strength, right?
Uh-huh.
Like there's the one about him making the three worlds tremble with his call.
Yeah.
It's like there's power beyond the physical realm.
Exactly. It hints at his divine nature.
Right, okay.
And his spiritual power.
There's one that I have to ask about.
Okay.
It's the one where Hanuman shrinks down to the size of a tiny atom.
Yes.
What's going on there? Is this like some kind of mythological shape-shifting?
It is.
Okay.
Hanuman has this incredible ability to change his form at will.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, he can become tiny, he can become gigantic.
So it's not just about physical size, it's about like adaptability and, being able to...
Resilience.
Yeah, resilience.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's a great verse.
So I think maybe this is a good place to pause.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and we'll explore some more of these inspiring verses.
All right.
So we were talking about Hanuman's shape-shifting abilities. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a great story, but I think it's also like this powerful metaphor.
Right.
About being able to adapt to any situation.
Right. And not just, battling demons and leaping across oceans.
Right.
But like also, those inner struggles that we all face.
Absolutely. Like our fears and our doubts, our negative thoughts, all those things.
Yeah, yeah.
There's actually a verse in the Chalisa that talks about how even ghosts and demons flee upon hearing Hanuman's name.
Okay.
And I think that's a reminder that, we all have that strength within us.
Right.
That power to overcome our inner darkness.
So like channeling Hanuman's courage.
Exactly.
To face your own personal challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense.
And that's why, so many people find this text to be so beneficial for their mental and emotional well-being.
Yeah, it's like having this source of strength that you can tap into.
Exactly.
There's one verse that I found really intriguing.
Okay.
It mentions that Hanuman is like the giver of 8 kinds of spiritual powers and 9 kinds of wealth.
This is like a treasure map.
What's the deeper meaning behind that?
It is a treasure map, but it's a treasure map to inner riches.
Okay.
It's a reminder that true wealth and power aren't just about, material possessions.
Right.
They're about spiritual qualities.
Okay, so what are those 8 powers and 9 treasures?
Well, the 8 powers refer to things like supernatural abilities.
Okay.
Like the shape-shifting that we talked about, but also things like the power to heal,
Okay.
the power to move objects with your mind, even the ability to become invisible.
Whoa, that's a lot of power.
It is a lot of power. And then the 9 treasures
Yeah.
symbolize inner wealth.
Okay.
Things like wisdom and contentment and, of course, devotion.
Right. It's like a reminder that, the most valuable treasures are the ones that we cultivate within ourselves.
Absolutely.
Those inner strengths that help us
Yeah.
navigate life's challenges.
And chanting the Chalisa can help us tap into that inner potential.
Yeah, that's cool.
It is.
I really like this imagery that depicts Hanuman as like a bridge between humanity and the divine.
Yes.
Like the verse where it says, "Through your hymns one finds Rama." What do you make of that?
Well, I think it speaks to the idea that Hanuman is more than just a powerful deity.
Right.
He's also a guide who can lead us
Right.
toward a deeper connection with the divine.
So he's like this intermediary
Mm-hmm.
that's helping us bridge the gap between our human experience
Yeah.
and this divine realm.
It's a beautiful image.
Yeah, it is.
And it's an idea that resonates with a lot of people.
And to kind of connect with that idea,
Mm-hmm.
the research mentions some traditional practices
Okay.
for reciting the Chalisa.
Yeah.
Like, what are some of those elements?
Well, it's often recommended to recite it in the morning
Okay.
after bathing in a clean and quiet space.
Okay.
It's about setting the stage for a sacred experience.
Right.
Some people light a lamp or offer flowers to Hanuman
Yeah.
as a symbol of their devotion.
So it's like creating this sacred atmosphere in your own home.
Exactly. It's about approaching it with intention and respect.
Yeah.
It's not just a casual reading.
Right. It's a spiritual practice.
Yes.
Okay.
It's about approaching the Chalisa with humility, gratitude,
Right.
and a desire to connect with something greater than ourselves.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, as we've been talking about these verses, like I'm struck by how universal some of the messages are.
Yeah.
Like this idea of overcoming challenges and, cultivating inner strength,
Absolutely.
striving for a deeper purpose.
That's the power of mythology.
Yeah.
These stories can convey timeless truths
Right.
that resonate with people.
It doesn't even matter what background you come from.
Exactly.
Like those messages are there for everyone.
Yeah, it's like a blueprint for living a life of meaning and purpose,
Right.
regardless of your beliefs.
And the Chalisa provides that framework for cultivating those virtues.
Yeah, it's not just about personal growth. It's
Yeah.
also about contributing to a greater good.
Right.
There's a verse about Hanuman being the savior of saints and sages.
Right.
And that highlights his role as a protector, someone who stands up for what's right
Right.
and defends those who are vulnerable.
So it's about using your strength
Yeah.
and your virtues to make a positive impact
Exactly.
on the world around you.
Yeah. Hanuman's life is a reminder that true strength lies in serving others, protecting the weak,
Right.
and upholding righteousness.
Okay, that's really cool.
It is.
Now, I want to go back to that verse about Hanuman shrinking down to the size of a tiny atom,
Oh, yeah.
because it sparked something for me.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Well, it made me think about perspective.
Okay.
You have this incredibly powerful deity who can cause the 3 worlds to tremble,
Right.
but then he can also become, infinitesimally small.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
like, it's a reminder that
Yeah.
even in the face of immense power, there's also this humility.
Humility and adaptability.
Yeah.
Being able to shift your perspective,
Yeah.
see things from different angles.
Yeah, and knowing when to be bold
Mm-hmm.
and knowing when to kind of,
Contract.
contract.
Yeah, it's like that saying, be like water, my friend.
Right.
Adaptable fluid, able to navigate any terrain.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes the Hanuman Chalisa so powerful.
Right.
It's not just about praising this deity, it's about learning from his example.
Right, and applying those lessons
Yes,
to our own lives.
exactly.
Well, I think that leads us perfectly into the final part of our deep dive.
Okay,
I'm really excited to kind of explore these closing verses
sounds good.
and see what other nuggets of wisdom
All right,
we can uncover.
let's do it.
Okay, so we're back and ready to dive into those closing verses of the Hanuman Chalisa.
Yes.
What do you think? Any like big themes that stand out to you?
Yeah, I mean, these closing verses are like a culmination of everything that we've explored so far.
Okay.
Summarizing the themes and offering this like direct guidance
Right.
for the reader.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
One that really stood out to me was
Okay.
whoever reads or hears the Chalisa with devotion will gain Sri Hanuman's grace and achieve success in life.
Yes.
It's almost like, a promise of blessings for those who, sincerely engage.
Yeah, it highlights that importance of intention and devotion.
Right.
The power of the Chalisa isn't just in the words themselves,
Right.
but in the sincerity with which they're received.
Okay, so it's like a two-way street.
Exactly.
It's not just like passively listening or reciting.
Mhm.
You have to like actively engage with the text.
Yeah, allow the message to resonate within you.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of reinforced by that verse
Mm-hmm.
that talks about reciting the Chalisa 100 times.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's not just about rote repetition.
Right. It's about deepening your connection with Hanuman through that dedicated practice.
Right, like the more you invest in those practices,
Mhm.
the deeper that connection becomes.
Yeah, and the reward.
Yeah, what is the reward?
Freedom from bondage.
Whoa, okay.
And immense happiness.
Not bad.
Not bad, right?
Yeah.
It's about aligning yourself with that higher purpose that Hanuman embodies.
Right, and connecting that with, the ultimate goal of reaching Rama.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at life's end, one attains Sri Rama's divine abode and becomes his eternal devotee.
It's a beautiful expression of that interconnectedness within the divine realm.
Right.
Hanuman, as this devoted servant of Rama, becomes the guide, leading us towards that ultimate source.
Like a trusted companion. Yes, exactly. A trusted companion on that journey.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. There is one that I found a little confusing.
Okay.
It says, devotion to you brings all happiness, eliminating the need to worship other deities.
Wow.
It kind of seems like Hanuman is all you need.
It's a bold statement.
Yes, it is, yeah.
But within the context of the Chalisa, it makes sense. Remember, Hanuman embodies all these virtues.
Right.
Strength, courage, wisdom, and above all that, unwavering devotion to Rama.
Right.
So in essence, by cultivating those qualities through devotion to Hanuman, you're aligning yourself with the path to Rama.
So it's not about excluding other deities. It's about recognizing that power of focusing your devotion on those specific qualities.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So we come to the last verse of the Chalisa.
Okay.
Hail Hanuman, the remover of all troubles. Let your blessings remain forever.
Mm.
It's like a final prayer.
It is a beautiful way to end.
Encapsulating the essence of the Chalisa, seeking refuge in Hanuman's strength and grace to overcome life's challenges.
And it's a reminder that even after we finish reading the verses, the lessons that we've learned can still guide us in our daily lives.
Yeah, it's about integrating those qualities into who you are.
Yeah, so it's not just about those 40 verses.
Right.
It's about taking that essence of Hanuman with you.
His courage, his devotion, his unwavering spirit as you navigate life's ups and downs.
Right. So I guess as we wrap up here, maybe a final question for our listeners to consider.
Okay, I like that.
Is in a world that's constantly, demanding our attention, pulling us in a million different directions, how can we cultivate that same, unwavering focus?
Yeah, that unwavering devotion.
Yeah.
That Hanuman had for Rama.
It's a great question to ponder.
Yeah, and it really shows how relevant this text still is.
Absolutely.
All these centuries later.
Mm-hmm.
It's a living guidebook for navigating life's complexities.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us on this deep dive.
Yes, thank you.
Into the Hanuman Chalisa.